Hello, my name is Kyle and welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about Bubba Wallace and what happened this past weekend in NASCAR. You can see behind me here where he caused an accident of another driver, a fellow driver. And yeah, he claimed other things too. We'll get into that. And we know about this guy, Bubba Wallace, and how he claimed that there was a noose in his garage door, which was FBI had to come in and say that it wasn't, because the FBI always does good, stern investigation when it comes to important things in life. But I'm digressing. In this video, I'm going to share with you several articles on this, and this is going to be the definitive Bubba Wallace or Bubba Smollett video. We're going to cover a lot of material here. Check in the bookmarks. I'm going to index all of this. So before I do this, I'm going to show you what I'm going to talk about so you know what to index. So essentially, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the story of what happened on Sunday. This is a race that he was involved with. And you can see here, Bubba Wallace causes accident during race, then physically attacks the other driver. Wow, we got to cover this, right? I mean, look at this. How can you not cover this? All right. So we're going to cover all of that. In fact, Kyle, I think Larson is the guy's name. Yes, Larson is his name. And we're going to talk about that. And Larson did make a mistake, but the overreaction by Bubba Wallace is going to prove to be interesting going forward because he is appearing to be, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Next thing we're going to talk about how there's growing concerns for him to be suspended, criminal charges maybe, talking about whether or not Bubba Wallace puts his hands on a NASCAR official. What happens if he put a hands on a ref in basketball or football? You're immediately ejected. We're going to talk about how McDonald's, is it going to drop his sponsorship? And also talking about the disapproval from NBC. And also, get this, a Black-oriented magazine goes against him. That's The Root. We're going to cover that article here about how even Black folk appear to be upset by this. And then we're going to talk about Bubba Wallace refuses to apologize. And lastly, I'm going to cover a take that was given to me by a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine. He gave his assessment of this. He's a huge NASCAR fan. He gives me all my information on this. I'm going to read it verbatim and give you his take and close it up on that. So let's get started here. This was on Sunday, October 16th. NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace erupted into a fit of rage. And by the way, we're going to show all the videos too. A fit of rage during a race on Sunday as he attacked another driver after causing that driver to crash. This is Kyle Larson. Larson moved up the track and his car gave a slight tap to Wallace's car, causing Wallace's car to brush up against the wall. After brushing up against the wall, Wallace bounced into Larson's car and then continued by tracking Larson's car down the track and slammed into his rear of his car, causing both cars to spin out. Multiple reports said that the move by Wallace to spin out Larson's car appeared to be intentional. Of course it was. So here's the actual clip here. I'm going to do it full screen so you can see it better. So here they are right here. We see Wallace to the left, Larson to the right, the 5 car versus the 45 car, McDonald's versus, I'm not sure what the brand there is. So we come around here. He taps him there. So Larson comes in and taps him. And now watch what happens. Watch the tail end of the car for the blue car to the right there. Watch what happens with the McDonald's car as it comes across. Right there. Spun him out. Okay? I mean, what more can you say? He spun him out and there they go spinning around the track, both out of the race. And I will tell you more about this in my take on my friend. He tells you actually what's going on in terms of the playoffs and everything else. There's implications there as well. That's more side notes. Here's another video here. Bubba Wallace gets out of the car and attacks the dude. So let's look at this video. You're going to see Bubba Wallace get out of this car and come up to Larson and assault him. Watch this. After she zooms in, you'll see Bubba Wallace to the left there in the red and Larson, Kyle to the right by his car. Watch this. Pushes him against the car. Shoves him one time. Shoves him again. Shoves him again. Now this time Kyle is going to actually push back. Right there. Just puts a hand against him to get off me, man. Come on. And so then what happens? He hits him again, pushes him again. And Kyle Larson is not defending himself. I mean, come on. And that's what happened on Sunday. And that's what people are really upset about. But it doesn't stop there. Here we have another video. Let's watch this one. We'll do this one on the screen. Here he is again. Pushes him. Pushes him again. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So let's hear what Larson had to say about this whole incident right here. Let's watch this clip right here.
I obviously made an aggressive move into 3 and got in low and got loose and chased it up a bit. And yeah, I mean, he got to my right front and it got him tightened into the wall and knew he was going to retaliate. So like I said, I mean, he had a reason to be mad, but his race wasn't over until, he retaliated. So it is what it is.
So now let's see what Bubba Wallace has to say about it. The interviewer asked him this question. When situations like this happen, Bubba, at this speed, is retaliation an acceptable thing? So let's watch what Bubba Wallace has to say. Check this out.
Wasn't retaliation. I don't know what was. Was it intentional retaliation on your behalf?
Clint's smart enough to know how easy these cars break. So when you get shoved into the fence, like deliberately like he did, trying to force me to lift, the steering was gone. So just so happened to be there. Hate it for our team. Super fast car. Had no short run speed, as you were seeing. We were kind of falling there. Larson wanted to make a 3-wide dive bomb. Never cleared me. And I don't lift, so I know I'm kind of new to running up the front, but I don't lift. So wasn't even in a spot to lift, and he never lifted.
He said I'm new to running up front. Does that mean I'm not used to being in the lead? I don't know. Tell me if that's what that means.
Either, and now we're junk. So just a piss poor move on his execution.
When situations like this happen, Bubba, at this speed, is retaliation an acceptable thing?
Stop fishing. Stop fishing.
I'm not fishing. I'm just asking you.
He said stop fishing. He doesn't want to take accountability for his actions, period. So I'm going to jump ahead right here quickly. So let me finish what he said here.
Also talk about the message you wanted to send to Kyle by going up to him after the incident.
He knows. He knows that what he did was wrong. He wanted to question what I was doing. He never cleared me. So just hate it for our team. Our McDonald's Toyota Camry was super solid. Just needed to find a little bit on the short run, get the balance where we needed it, and it would have been just like Kansas. But now that car's junk.
Okay, so you can take your own inference there of what you feel about it. He made a mistake, and you try and wreck him at that speed. You try and potentially kill him. Okay, Bubba, whatever you say, dude. You know what? Your character is really in jeopardy right now. Not that it wasn't before in my book. So now there's calls for Bubba Wallace to be suspended. We have here, calls grew on Sunday for hothead NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace to face severe penalties for a violent outburst toward another driver after Wallace caused another driver to crash. Is at Bubba Wallace going to be arrested? Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton tweeted. This crap is why it's hard for Bubba to have full respect from the fan base and probably other drivers, Newsbusters managing editor Curtis Howick tweeted. It was unsafe given how piss poor these cars are. If Larson or Bubba himself ends up diagnosed with a concussion this week and misses time, it will look even worse. Bubba Wallace needs to be suspended for the retaliation in the vehicle against Larson, full stop. Sports commentator Casey Fombro tweeted, these cars are way too dangerous for that, and then having time to walk and calm down and choosing violence, nah, unacceptable. It goes on and on and on. I'll put this on the screen here if we can pause and look at. You can take a look at these. Just pause your screen. There's a bunch here to cover in this video, but there's a lot of stuff here. What a clown. Yeah, exactly. Watch Bubba Wallace put his hands on the NASCAR official during a violent attack on fellow driver. So again, what happens if you put your hands on a referee in football or in basketball? You get kicked to the curb. Let's just play it here. I'm not going to do another video. Let's just see what here. He taps in the back. That's the referee. Yeah, he put his hands on him. So that's, I mean, that may seem petty, but I guarantee you, if you do that in the NFL or the NBA, you're immediately ejected and fined. Period. You don't put your hands on the referee at all. Period. There's no matter how slight it is, you just don't do it. Let's keep going here. Next story. Calls grow for McDonald's to drop sponsorship of Bubba Wallace. He needs to be removed from the sport. Hundreds of accounts on social media called out Wallace, top sponsor McDonald's, and challenged the fast food company to reconsider its decision to sponsor him. I wonder, McDonald's, is this the kind of person you want to have representing your company? Here we go. NBC's top screen telemetry appears to disprove Bubba Wallace's claim about what led to the crash. Now, what I'm understanding is that Bubba Wallace actually tried to say his steering wheel got stuck or something like that. So let's take a look at this here. A new report suggests that NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace may have falsely claimed that his steering wheel was broken when he slammed into the side of another NASCAR driver during a race on Sunday. So he said basically he didn't intentionally do it. His steering wheel got stuck or whatever, broken, and he clipped the guy by accident. Of course, just like that thing in your garage was not a NASCAR pull string, which evidence was there way before you were ever part of NASCAR. They've been around forever. Was actually a pull string, but you said it was a noose. So yeah, sure, Bubba, we believe you, of course. Bubba Wallace said the steering was gone. Wallace claimed when he smirked, he just so happened to be there. Of course, the steering was gone. He just so happened to be there. After he clipped me, he just so happened to be next to me as the car all by itself spun him out. However, Insider noted in a report that NBC's on-screen telemetry of Wallace's car seemed to disprove Wallace's defense because measurements showed that Wallace was all the way down on the gas before hitting Larson, which the report said would, quote, not have been expected if he did not have control of the steering, unquote. So his pedal was to the metal and he ended up spinning this guy out. Of course, Bubba Wallace totally denies all of this, as you see here. And we have The Root, a black-oriented magazine, torches Bubba Wallace for outbursts, dangerous, a-hole, unprofessional. Let's go to that article right here. Bubba Wallace has damaged his reputation with unprofessional post-race behavior. This is from Stephanie Holland of The Root. Come on, Bubba, this ain't it, and you know it. With these cars going between 180 to 200 miles per hour, you darn well know running into the back of another racer at that speed is dangerous and unprofessional. You're a better driver than that. Maybe he's not. And for you to not care about involving someone who's racing for a spot in the championship finals is a-hole behavior. Spot on, spot on. And lastly, Bubba Wallace has changed his tunes following the backlash to crash, refuses to apologize to the driver he attacked. Does that at all surprise you based on this? And so right now I'm going to read to you a text that I got from a buddy of mine who's a big NASCAR fan. He's a big Richard Petty fan, race car number 43. He knows way more about NASCAR than I would ever know. And he's a strong conservative. And he's also a black man who has a strong family and wife. And he's just awesome. He's my mentor. And so I didn't put him on screen here because I didn't get his permission. I told him I was going to do it. I said, hopefully you won't mind me putting this on here, but I'm going to put this up on the screen here. I'm going to read it off because it definitely summarizes this whole thing. His opinion is gold to me. And so let's check this out. This is what my friend said. I saw the race and the incident. Did Kyle Larson make a mistake by forcing Bubba Wallace into the wall? Yes, both cars could have continued at that point. That's a key point there. Both cars could have continued at that point. Bubba overreacted and deliberately turned left and wrecked Kyle Larson at around 180 miles an hour. That mindless act collected a fellow toilet driver that is actually in the playoffs and ended his day. Like the entitled crybaby he is, Bubba got out of his car, marched over to Larson, and began pushing and shoving him around. I counted 5 times personally myself. With Larson offering no retaliation. That is correct. Even turned his back and tried to walk away. Correct. Bubba put his hands on a NASCAR official. Also correct. That was trying to move him away from Larson. My take, Bubba is a jerk. And I would say a lot worse, but he's a much better man than I am. I pulled for him when he drove the 43 because I'm a Petty fan. After the noose thing and BLM nonsense, I couldn't wait for him to get out of that car. So what I'm saying is that he was driving the Richard Petty car, which was number 43. He drove in that car, but of course the whole noose thing happened and saying, you know what, I'm done. He's an overrated phony. That got his ride because he's black. In other words, he got where he is because he played the victim and because he's black. That's what happens. They call us grifters, but in actuality, they're the grifters. They always attack conservatives for what they're actually doing to deflect and hide what their true intentions really are. Spot on, spot on. Bubba blames everyone but himself for his shortcomings and walks around with a chip on their shoulder. Exactly. That's what it does. When you worship your skin tone, you have a chip on your shoulder, you're arrogant, and you wonder why people don't like you and why people don't respect you, all to further his agenda. It's sad that he's even mentioned in the same breath as Wendell Scott. Wendell Scott is a famous black driver, one of the pioneers. He couldn't carry Wendell's toolbox. Wendell made the most out of the little he had in the face of real racism. Exactly. Bubba has underachieved with major resources and backing in the face of imagined racism and adversity. Imagine racism and adversity. He should be suspended for the rest of the season and heavily fined. Bubba is very bad for NASCAR and Black America. You know what, man, my friend? That should be the video in and of itself. That's a great summary. What do you guys think about that take? What do you guys think about anything in this particular deal? What do you think about New Skate, how it plays to this? What do you think about his retaliation, touching the referee, being suspended by McDonald's, being just a horrible person? What do you guys think? I'm curious to know. Please comment, because I suspect this will not be the end of this story. So until that, I'll see you guys in the next video.